there, Ruth. We'll wait just a few seconds to see if more people join us. Chilly, Montana, I'm sure. You know, in Ohio, it was 74 degrees, sunny skies, beautiful day, light wind. So really pretty day, but you know, it's Ohio. It's not going to stay that way. It's only March 1st, but it's been an unusual winter here. Hardly any snow. And we've had unseasonably cold temperatures right before Christmas. And then we've had waves of temperatures and unseasonably warm. And I know many people in the States are still getting lots of snow. Welcome everybody to Stampin' Peace with Mary Nabe. It is Wednesday, March 1st, a new month, yay. A couple things I want to point out. If you go to the online store, marynabe.stampinup.net, or you can even go to stampinpeace.com and click shop. But if you go to the Stampin' Up! Online store, there's a banner there that says online exclusives. If you click on that, it will show you new products that just came out today. These are products that you will not see in a catalog or publication of any kind, just online, just like our online kits collection. So take a look there. There's some great things. I placed a little order this morning for a couple things I wanted, a couple bundles. And I don't remember what they're called, but there's a set of border dies. Oh, so beautiful. What else is on there? Gosh, I can't think. The Hello Irresistible bundle that I think I've shown already is there as well. So some great things. So check that out. Also, while you're there, go ahead and check out the clearance rack. There may be some great deals that you're interested in. Thank you to all of you who helped make my celebration period very good. Sales were good, and I added 6 people to my team. And my Mary Stampers team in general did very well with their sales. And in addition to my 6, we added another 8 demonstrators to our Mary Stampers team. So that's exciting. If you weren't with me on Monday, I demonstrated using some brand new embossing folders. They're the Basics 3D embossing folders, a set of 3 that you can find in the online exclusives. And we made a couple of fun baby cards with those, showing the Happy Label stamp set and the coordinating banner punch to go with that. Today is all about keeping things simple and efficient. And we're going to make 10 cards, and I'm going to show you how to do this assembly line style. I have a friend who lost her husband this morning, and you know, if you're like me, when you have to make a sympathy card, it's the hardest thing. So if I'm in a situation where I want to make a sympathy card for, you know, or I just need to make a sympathy card, I like to make several at once. It makes it easier for me. And, you know, you can get away with sending a late birthday card or something, but when somebody loses a loved one, I want to make sure that I don't miss that. So if I'm making one, I make several sympathy cards. So I'm going to show you a quick and easy way to do this, and you're going to get some time-saving tips from me as well. So let's get started now. If you are able to share this live video, I would appreciate it very much. That way we can bring more people into our crafting circle. While I'm flipping my camera around, if you would share now, that would be awesome. Of course, it is a new month, so I have a new host code. I just realized minutes before I went live that I hadn't printed that out. So I got that printed out quickly, and after this live, I'll make sure to update it on my Facebook page and my blog, etc. All right, for these 10 cards, so this is kind of like a one-sheet wonder, and I'm using a sheet of 12 by 12 designer series paper. This is the soft succulent, and it's from the Desert Details suite, or Desert, is that what it's called? Desert Details or Delightful Desert? I don't know. 2 Ds, I know. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut it 5 inches, and then I'm going to do the same again. Slide that over and cut at 5 inches. This piece right here, I'm going to turn and cut. This is easy to remember too, at 5 inches and 5 inches. And this is the only piece of the DSP that I won't be using on these 10 cards, but perhaps you can find a way, clever way to incorporate that little 2x2 square that's left. And then I need these pieces to be 5 inches by 3 inches. So I'm just going to cut this 5 by 12 inch piece in half at 6 inches. And then, oops, I can't cut all those at once. And then the 5 by 6 inch pieces, I'm going to cut into 5 by 3 inch pieces by cutting right in half at the 3 inch mark. So there's 2, 4. Do the same thing here. 6, 8. So I'll have 8 cards that will be the very same layout, and then these 2 will be a slightly different layout. Now, in addition to these, I've pre-cut 10 card bases of soft succulent. I've got 10 pieces of white that measure 5 1/4 by 4 inches for the insides of my card. Don't forget, you want a nice light color or neutral on the inside of your cards. Makes it easier for you to see what you're writing and for other people to read your message. I've cut another 10 pieces, also 5 1/4 by 4 inches, and we'll be using these on the front. I've got my one set of designer series paper, or one sheet of designer series paper already cut. And then I've got 10 1 inch by 5 inch pieces. And this is just another sheet from the Delicate Desert, or Desert Details, whatever that's called, the desert paper, the Desert DSP. I just liked it because it's pretty plain, but yet you get a little texture in there. For the 1 inch strips, you can use cardstock. You can use a different coordinating, complementing DSP, you choose. All right. So now I'm going to show you how we're going to put all these together. And then, oh, you know what? Well, I'll show you the stamping trick later. So I'm just going to go through and, whoops. I find if I want to make a bunch of cards, having things prepped to start with and laid out makes it really easy for me to assemble my cards. I can put all these in the same stack. So one on the inside, one on the front, and then I'm going to take my pattern DSP and put it at the top. Notice that at the top and the left and right sides, I'm leaving a border. I'm leaving a white border. Now, I like when I'm doing this, I could have cut this to 3/4 inches, but I like to have an overlap because once in a while, if you're off on your hearing or a piece didn't cut quite straight, you can kind of see that or notice that. So I like to cut it. That's the width, total width here is 5 inches by 3 3/4, but I cut this strip to 1 inch because I do like that overlap. I also like the width of this better as opposed to just a 3/4 inch, but it's all your preference. All right. So 1, and then we oh, I forgot to tell you about my day. So I got up really early again and worked on my computer. And then I drove about an hour away, maybe an hour and 15 minutes, and met 2 of my friends, also team members. I guess they were customers first and then team members. And then just over the years, we've become good friends. So today, they came from Cincinnati and I went down from Columbus, and we met halfway and had lunch at Bob Evans. And it was just such fun. I hadn't seen either one of them in a long time. And we ate and we talked, and it just kind of fills your soul, you know? So that was an exciting part of my day. We had planned to do it, I forget if it was January or beginning of February, and then the weather didn't cooperate, of all days. So we rescheduled to March 1st. So it was really nice to get together with them. And it got me thinking on the way home with my friend's husband dying this morning, and then meeting with Sandy and Sharon. How many people I have in my life because of Stampin' Up! It's amazing. All of these people started as customers. And we've just become friends over the years. And I just love it. I never would have thought that I would have all these connections and friendships from stamping. So as you can see, this is going very quickly. I'm not going to do all of these because, well, unless you want me to, you get the idea, because 8 are the same. Although I could do it and show you time-wise. Maybe we should. We're already getting close to, well, we're already more than halfway done. And for the stamping, I'm going to use a sentiment from the Something Fancy stamp set and one of the coordinating dies. But I want to show you a trick for stamping and die cutting that I guarantee you will save you time and frustration. And that's always a good thing for us, isn't it? Does anybody have the Desert DSP? Did anybody get that? I wasn't really sure that I wanted that suite. That's not really my style, but I have found I have enjoyed working with the papers. And who would have thought that this would be part of the Desert DSP pack? But it's so pretty. I should tell you I'm using Soft Succulent cardstock and Soft Succulent ink. Soft Succulent is one of the in colors from 2021 to 2023 that will be retiring, okay? End of March, I believe. I think it's March 29th. The last chance list will come out. So in addition to this beautiful Soft Succulent, I'm really going to miss this color. Evening Evergreen will retire. Fresh Freesia will retire. Polished Pink will retire. And Pale Papaya. Those 5 colors. Soft Succulent, Evening Evergreen, Fresh Freesia, Polished Pink, and Pale Papaya. All of those are retiring. So if you love those colors, avoid disappointment by getting the cardstock now, getting the ink refills. If you want the blends, anything like that to coordinate, I would suggest getting them now. Typically, and you know, never say never, but typically I have not seen in color products, especially the retiring in color products, go on sale. So if you're waiting thinking, well, they might go on sale, I'm guessing they won't. I could be wrong, but just past history tells me they probably won't. Look how quickly, oops, I skipped. I didn't get the front on that one, did I? But look how quickly this is going. And the cards are pretty, they're elegant, they're simple, they're neat. Okay, I have one more like this, and then I'll show you what I'm doing with the two smaller pieces of the printed DSP. Nothing like a good one-sheet wonder. Kind of lost my rhythm here talking. I'm not going in the same order on these last two cards. Okay, so that makes 8 with this layout. And this layout is simple, it's easy. You could do it with probably most any of our designer series papers. For these last two, I'm going to start the same way by putting white both on the inside, well, the inside and the front. Somebody asked me recently, do my cards really hold together? Do all the pieces hold together with using just that little amount of adhesive? And I said, yes. If you have a good adhesive, you shouldn't need a whole lot, especially on your cards. If you're doing 3D items, I like a little bit stronger adhesive, like the Seal Plus or the Tear and Tape, and sometimes even the multi-purpose glue. Now for these, I'm going to take these 5" by 2" strips and place it like this. Oops, I didn't want to do that. Okay, pretend I didn't tape that on yet. Forgot the one part. You could do it like that, but I wanted to do something different. And then my strips, I'm just going to put beside the 1" strips, I'm going to put beside the wider ones, leaving just a little space of white. And you can leave the front like this, or you can do a quick tear of the side of the paper. And when I'm tearing, I like to pull it towards me because then it leaves the different layers and fibers for you to see along the front. And you can tear off as much or as little as you want, like that. I do the same thing with this one, but phooey that I already stuck that down. I think I can get it up pretty easily. If I had used stronger adhesives or my multi-purpose glue, that I would not have tried to pull up, because that could have left a mess. But you can see whether you tear off the edge or not, the layout works both ways, looks nice both ways. But I thought, it's not very often I tear my papers, but I thought this seemed like a good layout to do that with. So now I have 10 cards done, okay? And these I intended to go horizontally, but they really could go in the vertical direction as well. Same with these two. I think I'll probably use in the vertical position, but they also work well in the horizontal position. Let me just show you here and here. Now, you're probably thinking, oh yeah, Mary, well, you did that pretty quick. Less than 20 minutes. Now, I had some of that pre-cut, obviously, so it might take you a little bit longer, but not much. But now you're thinking, oh yeah, but you still have to stamp the sentiment 10 times and die cut each one of those. Well, here is another time-saving tip for you. With this one, we're going to use the Stamparatus. Does anybody have the Stamparatus? Anybody have the Stamparatus? Oh, Kathleen, you like quick and easy cards. Awesome. The Stamparatus works so well for doing multiples, all right? There are other things it can do as well, different techniques, but for multiples, this is your tool. If you have arthritis and trouble with your hands, this can also help you a lot. Carpal tunnel, anything like that, you will likely find that using the Stamparatus is easier for you to stamp than holding the different blocks, especially when you're stamping a whole lot of things. All right. So let me show you how this works. I will tell you, my first tip is you're going to cut a stencil. I went ahead and cut out a bunch of these labels. Okay. This is from the Something Fancy stamp set and dies. This is the one I'm using. I left that out to show you. But great dies for just all kinds of sentiments and images. And then I'm using With Deepest Sympathy. So I've already pre-cut these. Now on one of those, I kept what I'm calling my stencil. All right. And then I like to have a different color of cardstock. You can use, and I sometimes do, use our grid paper. But when it's something small and with lettering, for me, the grid paper can throw me off a little bit. It's harder for me to see. So I prefer a plain color cardstock and then a stencil in a color that will stand out against that. So the first thing I'm going to do is open my soft succulent ink, tap some ink right there, and I'm just going to stamp on this piece, okay? Now this isn't real dark. If I were stamping it actually on my label, I might stamp it a second time. But this is just to help me position where I'm putting my stencil. So I'm going to take this stencil and without moving that bottom piece, I want to lay the stencil. Oh, actually, I stamped that pretty straight. When I put it on the thing, when I put it on the stamping plate, I had it pretty straight already. But Now I'm making sure that the stamped sentiment is centered in this stencil and that it's straight across, not going wonky or anything. Okay, and you can see it's pretty centered top to bottom and side to side. I feel good about that placement. So now, and I cut extras here because I can always use them. Now I'm ready to stamp my sentiments on all these die cut pieces. I'm going to ink that up. Whoops. Make sure it's laying in there totally. And then go down. I think I might put just a little bit more ink on there. Oh yeah, perfect. Grab the next die cut piece, lay it in the stencil. Oops, I think I moved that when I picked it up. I did. That's why I make extras. Now, like there, I kind of caught the edge as I was picking that up, caught the edge of my stencil. So I want to take a few seconds to make sure that that stencil is still in place, and then I'm ready to go. If you ever have trouble lifting the die cut piece out after you stamp on it, you can, here's another tip, use your take your pick tool. It lifts out perfectly. Just catch an edge there. Now you can see that as I'm doing this, this is taking me a lot less time than it would to stamp all these and then one by one center the die on top of it and roll it through the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, right? And really, you're going to get perfect placement of the sentiment on your die cut, unless, like me, you pull out the die cut and you cut your fingernail on the stencil. Then that changes things, obviously, as you saw. Jen, you're right. As you can see, it saves a lot of time. And this that I'm using is, I call it the Stamparatus pressure tool. I did it again, lifted that up. And I have a friend also. Somebody started out as a customer, but she lives in Indiana and her husband does wood turning, and she sent me this as a gift. But I have been able to get some from her so that I have them available if people want to purchase one. So if you're interested in the Stamparatus pressure tool, all you have to do is email me or message me. On my new website, if you haven't noticed, there are contact forms. It'll say contact in the menu bar, and you fill in the information and your question or request, and it comes right to my email, and I can check those at the end of the day. Super easy. So no searching for my email or anything like that. Just stampinpiece.com and look for the word contact in the menu bar. If you haven't checked out my new website. I hope you will. I'm super excited about it. I added my new logo to it yesterday, and I've still got more work to do. I'm working on some paper crafting resources to add. So lots happening. It's been a lot of work, but I'm really proud of myself for everything that I learned and excited to share all that with you. I'll just do a couple more here. I haven't been counting. And I need 10. The nice thing about this pressure tool is, not sure if I moved it or didn't have it in straight. Oh, okay. Especially when there are larger stamps, you can just slide this over the stamping plate. You really aren't putting much pressure on it, okay? Kathleen, that's a good point. I might be stamping flowers or something like that, and maybe my pressure wasn't even. Maybe I didn't miss putting ink on part of the stamp. I can just re-ink that stamp, go right back over it, the first stamped image, and it matches up really nicely. Especially with the red rubber stamps. That's next to impossible to do without the Stamparatus to fix a mistake like that. I think I have 10. And I'm just going to stop right there. Now, wasn't that a lot easier? No stress. I'm not frustrated because with each one of those, I was trying to align the die over the stamped sentiment, and then maybe it jumped, or maybe I slid it when I added the cutting plate to the top and rolled it through the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. So now I can take all these, and I'm going to go this direction here. I'll go like, I don't know if I want it all over the DSP. Yeah, I think so. You can even put all of your dimensionals on the backs first. Again, kind of that assembly line style. Does anybody watch Today's Show? And Dylan Dreyer has some of those segments occasionally with her son cooking with Cal. And they were making, some kind of Mexican dish that sounded really good, like in a baking pan. And she said, okay, we're going to do this assembly line. And he said, what's assembly line, Mom? And I thought, oh, he doesn't miss a beat. And when she explained to him, he said, oh. So we're not the only ones that use assembly line style. And of course, you might have a different idea of where you want the sentiment to go on each of the cards. No problem. You make it your own. Put your own spin on things if you like. Don't ever feel the pressure to copy somebody exactly. If you do, fine. But if you don't want to, never feel bad about that, because we all have, different styles, different ideas. A lot of times, as I'm going through my Facebook Lives, I'll look up and somebody will be commenting, and they had maybe a little bit different idea than I did, or a different use for the die or the punch or whatever. Or they would have chosen a different color scheme. But never, ever, ever feel pressure to do it just like me or just like anybody else. If you want to, fine. I'll take that as a compliment. but I don't, if you want to be a little more creative and do your own take on things, please do. And I've pulled out some embellishments. Is anybody watching the time? I haven't looked up. We're not even at 40 minutes. And I pulled out some embellishments. I believe the festive pearls did carry over. You can find them in the online store. And these are soft succulent. And if somebody doesn't like, if it's too matchy-matchy for you, I thought another option would be these matte silver embellishments. So maybe we could try both. Let's see, sometimes I'm not, these ones that are different shapes, sometimes I'm not always sure how to use them. But look at how these little rectangle embellishments just fit right on the ends of this die cut. Sometimes I tend to go to, you know, dive into my favorites, and I always tell myself, no, this is why I have to buy some of the different products that make me think outside the box. It doesn't always have to be pearls and rhinestones. These have a matte finish, so they're not real super shiny. So that's kind of a neat finish, like a, it's all, maybe it's called a brushed, kind of like a brushed nickel, maybe. So this evening you got kind of a makeshift one sheet wonder. I'll try to make up a template for that along with the cutting dimensions. You got a very basic card layout that you can use over and over. You don't have to use this card layout only if you're making a bunch. You can use it if you're making just 1 or 2 cards even. Whatever floats your boat or whatever you need. But it's an easy card layout for you to repeat over and over. Does anybody have a favorite DSP? You know how much I like my DSP, right? I think for me, I think DSP helps you make the quick and easy cards because you can let the DSP do the work for you. Now, sometimes it's fun to make cards that are mostly stamping, and other times it's fun to make some cards more quickly, let the DSP do the work, and just do a little bit of stamping, like we did today with the sentiment. Did I miss one on some of these? Because I must have just used one at some point because I have an odd number. All right, and then the last 2 vertical cards. Notice how easy it is to pick up and place my embellishments with my take your pick tool. I even have one of these in my to-go craft bag. So I never have to worry about that I forgot to pack it. Okay. What do you think? Are you willing to give this a try? This quick and easy set of cards using a 1-sheet wonder. And you end up making 10 cards. All right. So I'm going to be sending out some of these this week and add a few to my stash, but I'm going to mail out one of each of the layouts, one of each of those cards to 2 viewers. If you are interested in having your name put in the drawing to receive one of these, please comment now, something fancy bundle, because that's what we used. We used the sentiment and then this one die, which I'm going to stick in here right away so I don't lose it. So the something fancy bundle, again, the paper I used is from the Desert Details DSP, or Delicate Desert. I can't remember that name. All right. Oh, you know what, Tony? I think it was Tony said that. Let me see. I think I saw somebody said, yes, you can do the cards in bulk and use those to give as gifts. I think that's a great idea. Any of you like to give your cards, handmade cards, for gifts? Or donate them too. We were talking about that at lunch today. Different places that all of us card makers can donate cards to. All right, everybody. Gosh, so we did 10 cards. Haven't even been online for 45 minutes yet. So think about that. About 4 minutes a card, just over 4 minutes a card, including my talking. So thanks very much for joining me on this Wednesday evening, March 1st. I'm always happy to have the opportunity to share what I love to do with all of you. So thanks for watching, and I will see you. Remember, I'm not doing Fridays now because I have my class that I'm taking, my website blogging class that I'm taking. So I won't see you until Monday afternoon. All righty. Oh, Tony, that's great that you often give these as gifts, your cards as gifts and for donations. I'm sure the people who receive them are very grateful. All right, have a good night, and I will see you Monday. And be sure to check out my new website, stampinpeace.com. Bye-bye.